We're always so focused on that person who fell and broke their hip, or, the one with the Parkinson's or the Alzheimer's, but what about the other person caring for them? Um, so if it's your spouse that you're caring for because of their physical or mental, emotional health issues, there's going to be a loneliness in that person because they're now in the role of caregiver for their spouse. And so that changes the dynamic of that relationship. And I'm speaking a lot on personal experience here. Um, that it feels different. And I know with my mom, my dad progressed so much that it was not, yes, they were still married. They still loved each other. They did things they enjoyed together, but it really can change that dynamic. And now when you're caring for somebody, um, there could be a loneliness there because that person is not at the same capacity that they used to be at. And so it's a big change in the relationship. Um, and I know, like, my mom felt guilty over feeling relieved when my dad passed, but he didn't have good quality of life. He didn't know why he
Yeah.
was still alive. She hated to see him suffer like that and not be able to do the things he loved. She lost kind of him a long time ago of who he was. And he could no longer, really do much of anything that he enjoyed. But recognizing that we're always so focused on that person who fell and broke their hip, or, the one with the Parkinson's or the Alzheimer's, but what about the other person caring for them? What about, especially when there's a couple, a relationship, and that person was their partner, and now that's different. Um, and just looking at that person and the loneliness that can happen with them, because I see it a lot. So, accepting, um, I'm kind of going off on a different topic here, but I've seen that with, one caregiver is so busy taking care of the other one, and then something happens to them and their health, because you don't realize that gradually it's deteriorating on your health, when you're caring. It's just like being a parent, and it takes a lot out of you when you're caring for kids. Well, your kids typically, unless you have, obviously there's special circumstances or things that can happen, but they grow up and they get more independent and need your help in a different way, and it evolves and changes. Whereas, an aging loved one, it's going downhill. And you know, However, it ends there, they move in somewhere, or, when they die, just the effect it can have on the other partner.